Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 4th of March, 2021. This is The Gap, episode 555. 555. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy's here. Joab, how's your week going? You traveling the world, I see, these days?
Oh, yeah. I'm all over. I'm going all over, mate. There's no need to leave the comfort of your home to travel the world anymore with the power of Google Maps and Geoguessr. So I am back, and you get to skip those pesky air like flights,
Right.
you know. Although I have found I'm missing international flights. This is some real first world problem shit. But
Yeah.
I haven't, like, I used to. There's like a subsection of films that my wife won't watch. Horror films. She doesn't like horror films where it's about psychos. She listens to, as far as I can tell, 18 hours of true crime podcasts a day. But she can't handle horror films.
Right. She wants the real stuff. None of the made up shit.
She's like, oh, fucking Hannibal Lecter, this fake motherfucker. Nobody gives a fuck, Hannibal. Get the fuck out of here. Let me listen about some fucking dude who knocks on people's doors and won't murder them if they're She legit locks all our doors because she heard on a fucking podcast once that some dude would walk around and if he found an open door, that was it. That was his invitation to come in and murder everyone.
You don't lock your doors? I lock my doors.
Yeah, I don't live in fucking San Fran. I live in an apartment building, like on the outskirts of fucking Sydney. Nobody's gonna fucking lock. Like she's locking.
Everyone knows now, Joe. You've told everybody.
Yeah, they're coming in. No, I'm telling them the doors are locked because my wife insists on doing it. She like locks the balcony door. We're like fucking stories up. Like. If Spider-Man wants to come in, Spider-Man's going to come in. I don't think a fucking door lock's going to stop him. Like, shit. Anyway, but yeah, no, I've been playing Geoguessr. Oh yeah, I've been watching those films and I'm missing it. I'm missing my horror films. So it used to be how I would watch them, you know. And I've like sort of conned her into watching a couple, but it's just not good.
Well, you just like, I don't know what this is about.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Murderthon X is gonna. It could be anything, really. Probably a romantic comedy. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just missing them. Used to watch them on planes. It was never great watching them on planes either, because you had to do that fucking. You shield the screen with your body because there was like a kid sitting 2 rows back, and you could tell they could see your screen. And some like fucking teenage co-ed sorority chick would be getting like brutally murdered in her 90, and you'd be like, oh, no, like what if a titty flops out and the kid sees it? I'm gonna get in trouble for this one.
It'll kick me off the plane. I'll be like, I said, sir, you need to leave.
Get out.
Like, but we're it's so far up. Doesn't matter.
30,000 meters above sea level. I don't give a fuck, sir. That was a titty. Everyone saw that titty. You are out of here. Yeah. So that's that's my challenge. But traveling the world all the same, playing Geoguessr, it's a lot of fun. Like I don't know why you're not in. Like why aren't you playing with us?
You have to create an account, and I was just like, I'm good.
It's a bridge too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll download fucking however many gigabytes of Outriders demo.
Yeah. But that doesn't take any effort for me. Like I just press download and it's done in 30 seconds. And I'm like, I'm good. Whereas this is like, it wants your email and the password, and I'm like,
I gotta fucking remember my email. Come on, I gotta make up a password. Good lord. Yep. Okay, fair enough. We have been playing that quite a bit the last couple of nights. It's like so this all came about on our Discord. Johnny Bravo was like shared a video of like he must be famous for this shit, which is amazing. The internet's an amazing thing, but yeah, he's famous for playing Geoguessr, and he's basically he stumbled across Battle Royale for the first time, And as soon as I saw there was a battle royale, I'm like, well, I gotta fucking play this. I gotta play it and win it. And that's how I do. It's not a true battle royale, like I want to get that out there straight up. It's the last man standing game mode. It's not battle royale. There's no looting. There's no slowly restricting area. But yeah, I did play it. I have won it a couple of times now. I won it against the chumps in the Gap Discord. I fucking blapped them all, and I won it in the live game against randos, just to make sure everyone knew I could do it. Not that it was ever in doubt, but anyway. So shared this video. I'm like, okay, I'll have a look, and I'm playing it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. It's like it's pretty interesting. Like, it sort of dumps you in a place on Google Maps, and you have to guess where you are. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And I'm sitting there, and I think it was like some Ukrainian city, like not one of the ones you might
Pachinki.
recognize. Not Pachinki. Or Guglovo. Chernigorsk, rather. Not somewhere you recognize, but you're like, okay. And you look around and you see like a sign. I'm like, okay, cool. And I Google the sign, and it gives me a little bit of information. I sort of hunt it down, and I'm like,
you allowed to do that? Is that not cheating?
Well, so I found it, worked out where I was. I'm like, yeah, cool, that's rad. Like I've sort of worked that shit out. I've deduced it, right? Like I'm an internet detective. So I told Heath he should play it. I'm like, oh yeah, you just jump in, dumps you in, you Google. Heath's playing it, and then fucking everyone comes out of the woodworks and like, oh what? Hang on, you're not allowed to fucking Google. There's no Googling.
Oh, I agree. That's cheating. That's like looking at the fucking puzzle box when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle. It's cheating.
Looking at the fucking puzzle box is cheating when you're doing jigsaw puzzles?
Yeah, it's cheating.
Like, by whose fucking measure?
It's an official rule. It's an actual rule.
It's an actual rule. You're not allowed to look at the fucking box to work out what the fuck you're supposed to be making.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I'm not playing baby puzzles here. I'm in hardcore mode.
Shouldn't it not have the picture on the box in the first place then?
Some of them don't. Like they'll put a fake picture up there, and they're like, and then it's like a naked man, and you're like, oh, I've been.
How many fucking jigsaws are you making? How many jigsaw puzzles are you doing? Yeah.
Look, I've done a lot in the last year.
How many do you have going right now? Right now, do you have multiple going at once, or just one? Just one.
Just one.
How big? How many pieces?
1,000. We don't do anything less than 1,000.
Oh, okay. 1,000 is your bottom mark. It sounds, honestly, 1,000 sounds pathetic for someone who's playing the hardcore rules.
We don't have a big enough table.
I would have expected 2,500 or something, right?
Okay.
I want to see.
That's when we get a big table. We've got an actual jigsaw puzzle table. That's when know we're in.
That's when you have a problem, right? You're snorting lines of fucking crushed up the bits that come out from the I'm sure you guys what do you call yourselves? Jiggers? No, you can't say that. Sawbones. I'm sure the sawbones. You have some. What are they called? Like dags or something? Little bits of paper that come off from the outside of the puzzle pieces.
No,
nothing.
No.
Is there a name for them?
I don't know.
You don't know the language?
Good quality jigsaw puzzles.
Good quality.
There's no paper falling off the sides.
How are you grandstanding while you're doing jigsaw puzzles? Good lord. Anyway, so you
were cheating at this game, right?
Everyone's like, "Oh, hang on, you're not supposed to Google." I'm like, "I know, but where does it say you're not supposed to Google? Like, it doesn't say that anywhere." But I I did, try a couple rounds without Googling. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. I get this. I can do this. This is actually really cool. I like it without Googling. Because like you've
I mean, it's in the
you've
name,
got-
Joe, of the game.
What?
Geoguess. Is it Geoguessr?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not GeoGoogle. Googler.
It is literally built off the back of Google Maps. So I do not understand how you're not allowed to use Google when the game itself uses Google. Okay, but I am on board with not using Google, right? I'm on board with it. You need to drop the fact that when I first started playing, I was using Google because I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. I came into this thing having watched 4 minutes of a video of some dude losing at a battle royale. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can win at this shit. And B, it looks interesting. So I jump in. And I did it my own way. When I was told that there was some insane rule about not looking at the fucking jigsaw picture, I stopped doing it. And now I'm a fucking champion. I'm a repeat champion. Okay. But it is like, yeah, it's cool. You're just like, oh, yeah. You feel like Sherlock Holmes. You legit feel like fucking Sherlock Holmes because you're like sitting there and you're like, oh, well, indubitably, Watson, if the sun is in this position and that is facing north, then I think you must find that those kinds of squiggly lines on a sign. The only problem is all of, like, actually, it's a lot like Sherlock Holmes in the stories where he makes wild assumptions. Wild assumptions that would never hold up today. Yeah. Like, oh, hell, if Watson, you're a man of science, surely you've studied phrenology, and you can see by the shape of this man's skull that he is predestined to a life of crime. And you're like, Jesus Christ, man. Phrenology was debunked even back then, Arthur. Like, fucking, what are you doing, mate? Anyway. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing like full blown just like stereotypes. I'm like, oh yeah, those squiggly lines, that means we've got to be in this region of the world, and yep, there's too many tuk-tuks, and so I think we've got to be probably Indonesia. Bang, Indonesia it is. I'm like fucking Sherlock, but it is pure stereotyping. Like I did it. It didn't feel good, but I did it. Like I probably shouldn't have arrived there that way, but it worked, and so here I am. Speaking of Sherlock Holmes, have you read?
No.
A Study in Emerald.
Already answered.
Have you read? I know.
No.
I know. It's pretty good. It's there's like a. I thought I'd read it before, but it's in a short story anthology book called Shadows Over Baker Street, and I must have read one of the other ones, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty fucking good, by a bunch of different authors, but this one is by Neil Gaiman, and it's like a twist on a classic Sherlock Holmes story. And like, what is it? A study in Scarlet or whatever it is. And yeah, it's based on like if Sherlock Holmes and Cthulhu like ran into one another, basically. You know, Cthulhu mythos ran into one another. It's fucking real good read. Definitely worth like checking out. So there's that was pretty good. And the other one, it's a short story. It was like about, I don't know, 5,000 words.
Right.
A tiny bit longer than one of my reviews. And the other thing you should read is Mycroft Holmes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has written 3 Mycroft Holmes books now. Mycroft is Sherlock's brother.
Yep.
And they're fucking great. They're really good. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that man can do it all. Fucking play basketball
being
better than
short.
most people. Act on airplane. Write Sherlock Holmes books. It's got it going.
Yeah.
Anyway, Geoguessr is good. We get like fucking. I think we had 6 people in the channel yesterday, all playing fucking Geoguessr.
Yep.
And what we're doing, we're like evolving our rule set. So we started with like basically the default stuff, where you can move, you can zoom, you can pan, and now I prefer it if we reduce our time limit to 2.5 minutes, because 3 minutes is just, I think it's a bit too long. It's mostly a problem when you get to the last round and these cheeseball motherfuckers insist on taking every single second. They'll leave it to the last second and then they'll make some fucking wild guess. But it works. Sometimes it works out because fucking, do you know who's real good at it? Klebomedy. He was on the podcast last year, listeners. He was my very short-term replacement when I was away. And he's very good at Geoguessr. Eerily good. I think he's hacking. I reckon he's hacking. No, he like, I swear to God, because he's from Norway, right? And I swear to God, in Norway, they must like have an entire, we've got like maths and English and stuff. And I'm sure in Norway they've got like maths and domain names of the world and stuff like that. Because I'll be like, how the fuck did you work out that we're like that one was in fucking Uruguay? It looked like every other part of South America. And he'll be like, because I saw a sign and it had the UY ending on the website, so obviously it was in Uruguay. I'm like, what? How did you know that? Why would you know that? Who would know that? Nobody knows it. Now I know it, obviously. I'm like, this is like my downtime while I'm waiting for these motherfuckers to finish their 3-minute stints. I'll like pop off an answer in like fucking 30 seconds. I'll be like, yeah, it's fucking, we're probably in fucking Sri Lanka. Bang. We're not in Sri Lanka. And I'm like, fucking whatever. I'm gonna read up on domain names of the world again because I need to fucking catch up to Kleb. And so that's what I'm doing. Reading up on domain names of the world. And yeah, that's the only way to fucking keep up anymore. That's the aim training of Geoguessr is learning all your fucking domain names. You're like, oh yeah, okay, well, SK Slovakia it is. We are there, baby. Or like, yeah, you just keep going down and down. Someone was telling a story about how there's like some place called Tivoli or Tivola or something, and like 90% of their GDP comes from sales of the domain name .tv. Like that's their entire. And I'm like, why have I learned so much about domain names in a game about maps? I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. My biggest flaw in my Geoguessr game is that I will look on a map, like I will work out where I am, like it's Carmen San Diego. I'm like, fucking, oh yeah, I know where this motherfucker is. I know where this motherfucker is. If it's the fucking Big Ben, then we must be in London. Let's go to London. And in Carmen San Diego, it just like it gives you like a choice. Like you can go to 4 different places. You go to London or fucking Belarus or Brisbane or fucking, I don't know, Dubbo. And you're like, well, obviously we're going to London and the plane flies there, right? In this, you got to find it on a map. And I'm good at working out where I am, except when I have to do it on a map. And then I'm like, where the fuck is London on a map?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know where London is on a map. London is obviously an exaggerated example. I can find London on a map pretty easily. But we're doing famous landmarks yesterday. And it put us at the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And that was actually, I was not the only one who got stuck on that one. we all ran into some trouble on that one. I assume we didn't talk about it too much because we were all collectively too embarrassed. But I assume everyone else looked around Rome for a large chunk of the allotted time before then belting it over. Or zooming out. I zoomed out and accidentally saw Pisa to the north, and that's where I went. I don't know. I've never been a fucking Leaning Tower, so
Right.
I didn't fucking know. I figured it was in Rome. Why wouldn't it be in Rome? Why wouldn't you have all your landmarks in one place? That'd be convenient. Who's going to Pisa up in fucking the north of Italy? Isn't that where the monsters live? Don't they live in the fucking north? I don't want to fucking
I don't
mess
think you
with
can call them monsters.
Not with that attitude. Anyway, so we've evolved the rule set. My new favorite is the blitz round, where you've got 1 minute and you're not allowed to move. So we plonk you in one spot. You're not allowed to move, and you got to guess where you are inside of 60 seconds. And I'm starting to think maybe 60 seconds is too long. I want that fucking gut reaction. You land, you fucking pick somewhere on the fucking map, right? And see who gets it closest. I want that, like, oh yeah. And like in my mind, I imagine it like you've been like teleported by an alien, like, and like they mentally tell you while you're teleporting, because it takes some time to teleport. It's not like instant transmission, but it's like a lot faster than flying there. And they're like, "Dear human, if you do not guess where you are," I don't know why they're robots. Yeah, I don't know. "If you do not guess where you are, we will exterminate you." And then you're like, "Oh fuck, okay." Like, hold on. How close do I have to be to where I am? "We will shock you depending on how far away you are." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, okay." So the closer I am, the less you'll shock me. "That is correct." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. And then you like dump it down, and like you're like 50 meters off, so you get like a bit of a zap. Like it'll be like static electricity zap, right? But if you're like 8,000, if you're on the fucking wrong continent type shit, that's it. You're dead. You zap to death. Like that's like how I imagine. Game. In my brain, that's how I raise the stakes.
Yeah.
That's why I keep winning, basically. The only person who can beat me is Kleb. Everyone else is garbage. And like I said, like I'm pretty sure they had a fucking Geoguessr class in Norway when he was growing up. Like they literally built. Actually, geography was a class, huh? Yeah,
it was. Yes,
I never took it. I was always terrible at geography.
Yeah.
But I'm fantastic Geoguessr, so I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, I saw this video on Reddit yesterday. It's still up there at the moment on the video r/videos, and it's titled "Geography Expert is shown picture of nondescript town using deduction. He works out exactly where he is in the world on a map within 10 yards." And I posted this in the channel you guys have got going at the moment. It's basically him playing this game. I guess he does like a series of videos where he goes for world records and that sort of thing, and it puts him in like, it shows him a picture, and he spends like 5 minutes looking at it and like deducting where he should be, and he gets it like pretty much on the bang in a fucking town in like Argentina somewhere. But he's looking at like, all right, in the background there's a mountain to the east, and so like he's looking in all the towns in Argentina, like the big towns, and he's like, I can see a church here. Like he eventually finds like a town with a some sort of hill to the east, and he's like looking, and then he zooms out a little bit, and then he finds a church, and he's like looking at the street sign, and you think it starts with like a C, and so he's looking down this street, and he finds the actual street, and then there's like a billboard on a shop, and then he finds the shop eventually, and just like puts the marker down, and it comes up, and it's like, bang, 10 yards. It's nuts.
It is huge when you do, like we were playing yesterday, we were playing Australian cities, And I think the very first one was in Brisbane. And I'm not doing anything quite to that extent, but I did. Like, you are sort of able to recognize very quickly, like, oh, okay, well, you like, because we're playing Australian cities. Club's awful at Australian cities.
It's because they didn't teach him in.
That's what it is.
In
Yeah,
class.
no, like, no. Hergy burgy, you'll never need this. And then so he just gets blapped on the Australian cities charts. But yeah, the stuff you'll use to work out where you are, you wind up like, oh yeah, okay, so I think it was Asta Terrace, and I didn't know exactly where Asta Terrace was, but once I found enough to go, I was like, oh yeah, there's the bend in the river, so we got to be away from South Bank, so we got to be in this direction over on Kangaroo Point, and then yeah, I zoom in and there's Asta Terrace. I'm like, hey, I can get closer than this, and so I zoom in. I'm looking around, but we're playing with like this, the time limit adds a significant amount of pressure.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wind up okay. Well, there's the cross street. There's that cross street. So, and then you're like, and I think I got that one within like fucking 10 meters or some shit. And you're like, that's awesome. I fucking nailed that one. Yeah, you see it like, I don't know what is going on with the other people playing. But like they're nailing, like, because you get 5,000 points if you get it like bang on the dot or within, I think, like 5 to 10 meters. And the amount of times they've come up with like a 4999 score, and you're like, just fucking how did you guys manage that one? That is fucking phenomenal. Yeah, there's like there are a number of things I think you can improve about this game. Like, it's using Google Maps, and sometimes
You
like
prefer
it'll
Bing.
just yeah, I
Bing's
just want
maps.
Bing Maps. Like sometimes it'll take a while to actually like fucking unblur and stuff, and like yeah, there's like some areas where everything's sort of blurred out. Just like there's elements to it that aren't
Like
amazing. And like you can't like properly you got to sort of like, when we're playing our rounds together, we sort of go, okay, 3, 2, 1, go, and then we play. But there's no way to like properly sync it up. Battle Royale doesn't work because it's that last man standing sort of situation where if you like, when you get knocked out, you just got to sit there and watch, which isn't a lot of fun. Like if they took like the proper team sort of thing where everyone's actually like, Battle Royale has within it the construct of playing each round at the same time, but it also has that last man standing vibe. If they just took the foundation, the structure of playing at the same time, and made it so that you could play challenges with your friends at the same time, without the lives, I think that'd be a lot better. And I also don't like, it's built on a subscription basis. I just think that's a shitty fucking process. It doesn't cost a lot. It's like $3 a month. Or like, I think maybe even $2 if you buy the yearly package or whatever. And you can get a 10-day free trial, which is what we're playing on right now. I doubt that I'm going to play much longer than that. It's not going to turn into some like long-term obsession. I could probably see myself playing an extra month or so, but like, you just wind up in this like, it's clearly built to catch, like, if your entire business model is people forgetting to cancel their subscription, I feel like it's shitty. Like that's a shitty fucking model. But if that's everything you've got going for you, maybe like you should rethink stuff, right? I would pay more than a month's worth to buy Geoguessr. Like I'd probably I'd probably drop $10 to buy Geoguessr to have it always. But I really reject the idea of paying a $3 a month subscription because I feel like it is literally built to catch people who forgot about their subscriptions, and I just find that to be such a shady fucking play that it just turns me offside immediately. So yeah, I don't like that. There's definitely elements that I don't like, but I'm having fun with it. I'll continue to play it for a little while. You should definitely jump in, make an account. It's funny as shit. Like you just wind up with these like the games at the end of a session where like somebody has like everyone who's playing, like all 6 of us, 5 of us have scored like fucking 4 points or something, and one motherfucker has picked up 5,000, and the absolute fucking outrage is spectacular. Everyone fucking loses their shit. They're like, how the fuck did you arrive at that conclusion? How did you get that? Tell me now. Just fucking tell me. Yeah. It's funny as shit. And yeah, it's there's something genuinely endearing about feeling like Sherlock Holmes and deducing some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, are they doing anything for, like to justify the service aspect of it? Like, are they hosting servers, or is it frequently updated? Like, what is the?
I don't know how they justify a monthly subscription at all. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is Geoguessr. It's on, I guess, the internet. That's kind of how you play it, right?
That's it.
Geoguessr.
GeoGuessr.com.
Yep. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We'll go through a few old things first before we get to the new stuff. Just quick update on Curse of the Dead Gods, which we talked about last week, a action roguelike game that's just hit 1.0 out of early access. I played a little bit more of this. We were talking about last week how the resources in the game, you accumulate like skulls and jewels and things like that in order to spend on items after you die as you go through this temple multiple times. I think we were saying last week how it felt like the skulls and the jewels and that sort of stuff that were getting dished out to us felt very minimal. And like the unlocks have been like, hey, you need 50 skulls to unlock this next thing, and we were running through stuff and getting nowhere near 50. I would get like 12 or something like that. And it just felt like very, very like hamstrung. But after we finished, I went and did one of those events again and played through that. And I got like 112 or somewhere along the lines of that. I can't remember exactly what it was. I messaged you about it, but I got like 100 and something out of it. And that allowed me to unlock like a level up on the table that it gives you. So each time you are about to go in the actual temple, there'll be a table with weapons on there. And you upgrade it, and that upgrades the rarity of the weapons that are on the table. But they're like 50 skulls, and you can do that, and then it'll give you like a higher chance to spawn a higher rarity weapon. And there's a couple other things you can go and unlock. But even with that, like extra bunch of resources that it gives you, I still think the game has an issue with sort of the way it presents. Like, hey, here's a bunch of different types of weapons that you can take in with you, but it's like, here's 4 screens of it, and you kind of just pick what you want, and it doesn't tell you like what it really, Like you can't use it and test it out. It's kind of just there. And they range from like 5 fucking joules to 15, and you kind of just go with it, right? You kind of just pick. And like I said last week, I was kind of being like, well, I'll just pick the first one, then I'll pick the second one on the list, and the third one, and just make my way through it. And so I think that stuff is kind of, it's still not done in a great way. You compare it to games like Dead Cells, where you're sort of unlocking like recipes, and like buying them as you go along or discovering them as you play the game, and then you at least you're able to use it and get a sense of like what this stuff does, as opposed to like buying something and being like, well, this is shit, why did I buy it? Like I've spent all this stuff on it, it's crap, like it's not the way I want to play this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely really cool aspects of that game, but there's some aspects where I just don't think have been thought out too well at all, compared to games that have done this sort of thing in the past that have proven they work really well. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to add a bit more about that. I don't know if you've played any more of it since last week.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm at the second tier now. I think I finished all 3 of the bottom rows, and then I got to the second lot. And I did that like daily event, which took me like 40 minutes something to get through. So yeah. Anyway, that's Curse of the Dead Gods. It's out on everything, it looks like. The other thing I just want to mention quickly, I'm still playing Dead by Daylight quite a lot. I think I've clocked in like 80 hours over the last 2 weeks at this stage. Nice. Playing a ton of it. It's an asymmetrical multiplayer game for survivors trying to complete objectives while a killer is on the loose trying to stop them from doing it, if you're unaware. I've been playing a couple more killers that I've unlocked. So the Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, I unlocked him. He basically has this big fuck off knife.
Cloud Strife Sword.
Yeah, sorry, how?
Cloud Strife Sword.
No, I think it's bigger than that one. It's huge. Anyway, and so basically he's got a bunch of abilities and things like that, but his sort of special attack is that you press right click or the ability button, and he grabs the sword and sort of like pokes it in the ground, and drags it behind him. And as he does that, he leaves like a trail of like barbed wires on the ground, and anybody that walks over the top of it or runs over the top of it gets caught in it, and it reveals their position for the killer for a couple of seconds. It also puts them into like a mode called Torment, which when you down that person, you're able to send them to a cage, which is sort of similar to the way the hooks work in the game. So generally you pick up a survivor, you go put them on a hook, and they start dying. This one just automatically sends them to a cage somewhere in the map. You can't see it. And if you do that 2 times, on the second time, they get like a series of those quick time sort of events that pop up. So they've got to be... Yep. And then the third time, if you catch them, you can automatically just kill them on the spot. You don't have to pick them up and go find a hook. So depending on which stage they are in the dying, because there's usually 3 stages in the dying stage, you don't actually have to send them to the cage those first 2 times. You could wait for them to be hooked twice and then catch them in Torment and then just automatically kill them. It's just like you can kind of play with that a little bit, because you don't necessarily have to send someone to the cage the first time you catch them. You can kind of catch them so that you can send them to the cage, but you don't. You kind of just hook them, and they'll stay in this like tormented mode until somebody rescues them from a cage. So you can play around with it a little bit. So that's interesting. And then the other thing is he's got this his attack ability. So when you stab the sword into the ground, he's able to do like a long range, kind of like a AoE attack, but it's in a straight line. And it's a little bit slow. It kind of just comes up from under the ground in a straight line, a couple of meters in front of you, and so that allows you to hit people at a distance, but it's a bit finicky. You've kind of got to really angle it right. You've also got to time it right because people can run out of the way. So he's kind of good at loop spots, areas where survivors will sit at a section and run around it a couple times, jump through windows, that sort of thing. He kind of deters players from doing that because you're able to drop your sword down, leave a trail around, so like block off windows and that sort of thing. So as a survivor, you kind of don't really want to be staying in the one spot for too long with this guy because he can hit you through walls if he wants to using this ability, but there's cooldowns and that sort of thing. It takes some time to get used to him, and if a survivor knows what they're doing, then they can dodge it quite easily. So I guess his biggest weakness is
that's not how you use it though, right? Like that's not how you use that one in particular. Is like you don't use it where they can dodge it. You use it when they loop you through a fucking shack, and then you like this was where they'll be, bang, and then you aim at where they're going to be, and you fucking blap them. It feels so fucking amazing. Yeah, you snipe them and through a wall, and hey, you're walking over. It doesn't even matter if they're not in torment, and at that point, you just fucking drop them on a fucking hook.
Right. It also allows them to, you can catch them when they're running to something, and you're not going to be able to hit them, but you can still use this ability to be like, I'm going to aim this. They clearly go into the window. They got nowhere else to go, so I'll just pop it now. I guess his biggest downfall is like
the other good one is when you're not on top of you're coming to the generator, and you know how they'll just no respect continue doing the generator until you're actually on top of them. You just fucking fling the sword out and you catch. I've caught multiple people that way.
Yeah.
They never do it again.
The other way is when someone's on a hook and a survivor will just run past you and try and get them off the hook. And so all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm not only am I going to hit you, but I'm going to hit the other person as well. Because it is like this ranged attack that is more like it's not like a single base attack. It's an AoE. Yeah. And so it can hit multiple people at once. And if they're just going to pull someone off the hook, you just pop it down and it'll get both of them at the same time. If they're injured, they're both down at that stage, unless they've got a perk that'll get them away. But generally, they'll
it's
just
definitely a high skill.
Oh yeah,
killer.
He's hard to play.
But once you have him, you are terrifying. Because you have the tools in his arsenal are difficult to use, but a killer who can use them is so fucking scary.
His biggest thing is that his maneuverability is not great. If you've got survivors that know what they're doing, they're in a team, they're running around a lot, they're not staying together, that sort of thing, that's when he becomes a bit of a problem. He's got one of his perks, which is called Deathbound, where if somebody heals another player, they basically become bound together. They'll scream and reveal their location, and they need to stay together. Otherwise, they get oblivious, which means that they can't hear the heartbeat of the killer. They don't know where they are. They're kind of they're not invisible, but they're undetectable. You won't know exactly where they are. They can sneak up on you. So he's got a couple of things in there that you kind of use to keep survivors together, not spread apart. The other one which I'm running at the moment is Trail of Torment, which you kick a generator, which starts regressing it, and that makes you undetectable, which is kind of the same thing I just talked about. Makes you can't, the survivors don't hear your heartbeat and that sort of thing. So, I'm running a couple of his
that
perks.
One constantly, because when you come back to the generator, that's when you catch them. That's when you catch them with you catch multiple of them with the one fucking swipe. You'll catch 2 people, and they will shit their pants. As a engine for creating horror experiences for other players, Dead by Daylight is unmatched. But what about the issues that you've been talking about the last couple of weeks? How
they got fixed last week?
like entirely? I remember last week you were saying that they fixed the HUD, but was the warping still happening?
Yeah, they fixed
I
that.
thought, did they?
Yeah,
I thought it was still happening Survivor side a little bit. No?
Don't think so, because I've been playing Survivor a bunch. I haven't noticed it.
Yeah, right.
I thought they fixed. At least I thought they fixed it. Maybe it's just been really good. I played a bunch of Survivor last night. I didn't even notice it at all.
All right.
As far as I'm aware, they've fixed all of that stuff at this stage. Because they rolled out 2 patches. Because it's been 2 weeks since then, so I'm pretty sure they fixed it. Right. The other thing is I've been playing. I unlocked a Leatherface last night. Because I maxed out all the other. I basically maxed out all the kills at this stage. They're all level 50, and so this stage, as you go through and unlock other killers, you can unlock their perks so that the other killers can use those perks as well. And so I've been going through and doing a bunch of that. So Leatherface has a good one that I've not used before. It's called barbecue and chill, and it's quite a popular perk that a lot of people use. Anyway, Leatherface is from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, and he has a chainsaw that he's able to charge up, and once he's the bar gets full, he unleashes a series of attacks with his chainsaw out in front of him. It kind of does like a sweeping attack, and you have 3 tokens, and you're able to spend these tokens to make the chainsaw attack last longer. But if you run into something, whether it's another survivor or something within the environment, if it's a survivor, they'll go down in 1 hit. If it's something in the environment, he'll hit it and get staggered for a couple of seconds, and that'll give the survivor some time to get away. So he's kind of similar to the hillbilly who has a chainsaw, but whereas the hillbilly has a lot of movement advantages, able to get around the map quite quickly, Leatherface is not able to do that. His movement is very slow. But if he does catch you, that means that you've got to play it really safe. Otherwise, he'll just down you quite quickly. So, yeah, he's got some cool perks. I guess the barbecue and chill one is kind of the one that a lot of people are using. So whenever you hook somebody, it shows you where the other survivors are if they're a certain distance away. And they generally got to be pretty far away for them to do that. So if you look around and there's nobody that you can see their auras, that means they're probably pretty close. Other times, like it'll show you like they're working on a generator, so you know which generator to go to next. It also gives you like a boost in blood points each time you do it, so it gets you a lot of extra experience in the game, that sort of thing. But yeah, I've not played too many games with him. I kind of played like 4 last night, but he seems interesting. I'll just keep unlocking more and more stuff that he's got there. Until the next killer is out. It looks like that's going to probably be pretty soon because they started testing him this week. It seems like there's nothing broken at this stage with this killer, so I'm hoping that it comes out pretty smoothly. The new killer doesn't seem very powerful though, from what I've watched and what people are saying, but he looks fun to play. I guess that's an interesting, thing people are keen for. Yeah, so. That's Dead by Daylight. Still playing a lot of it. I'm interested to see when this MMR patch goes in, because that'll probably change up the game quite a lot. I'm hoping I don't know, man, like it's that kind of thing where people do get upset about certain games having a ranked mode. Like why? Like if you want to play, you just kind of want to play casual game or something, and you don't want to be sweaty like the entire time, which is why generally there's like quick play and ranked. And I guess my worry about Dead by Daylight is running into if they chuck this MMR system in there and it's not separated, then it ends up just being like survive with friends the entire time and it's super sweaty, and like I just kind of want to fuck around sometimes and just have fun.
Well,
So
that okay. So the thing about that is always how narrow they make the MMR band,
yeah.
right? Because if it's broad and it's just a situation where they just don't want fucking level 1 killers matched up against level 20 bambinos,
Mm.
right? Then that's fine. And if all they do is sort of like, oh, you've got to be within a range of like, say, 12 ranks of one another, then that should be fine. 12, maybe 15 ranks of one another. That should be fine, right? Because maybe you get rank 5 killer against some bambinos, but it probably won't happen.
Mm.
But you won't have, these fucking super skulls running around ripping up freshies.
Yeah.
Or survival with friend rank 1s running around, running circles and being like in fucking teabagging on some rank 20 killer who's only just bought a new hero and has no idea what the fuck they're doing. You won't have those situations. That's obviously good. If what they wind up doing is the Call of Duty thing where, oh, you've got to be within 2 ranks of one another, I think all you'll wind up seeing is a lot of people deliberately tanking, smurfing, which is what happens in Call of Duty constantly. People just smurf until they can get back to a rank where they can dominate / have fun. Like, that's if there isn't a separate mode, like, just do it. Do casual and ranked. If you're so convinced that people want your MMR mode, MMR skill-based matchmaking shit, then make a casual mode, make a ranked mode, and see how many people play one versus the other. If you're if you're so convinced people desperately want the rankings, then put it to the test. But they never do, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll wait and see. I'll probably bring that up in a couple of weeks when this new patch drops, this new big patch. But it seems like it's gonna not be broken this time. Fingers crossed, unless they change something. But from what I've seen so far, everything seems to be running pretty good in this test. All right, let's move on to the next game. Slay the Spire.
What do we got? Slay the Spire. Some dickwad told me that Slay the Spire is available on the mobile. And so now I found myself sitting there on my toilet for about half an hour after I finished doing anything, playing, I'll just play this next fucking fight. And then when I realized that I was doing that, I stopped and I was playing at my computer. I was sitting here at my desk playing on my mobile. I have Slay the Spire on PC. I've got everything unlocked in Slay the Spire on PC. I wouldn't have to fucking unlock all the cards again in Slay the Spire on PC, but I wind up playing it on the fucking mobile because I can't take my PC with me. Although I guess I could like Steam stream to my mobile, but that feels like a bridge too far for some reason. Meanwhile, unlocking everything again on Slay the Spire on mobile doesn't. And so I wind up playing way too much of it. My addiction is well and truly back. I love that game so much. My biggest, there are a couple of issues I find with the interface. I don't think they put the greatest amount of effort in. I've had a couple of situations where I've played cards that I didn't mean to because I was trying to mouse over not mouse over, finger over. That sounds awful. Just pick a card and work out whether or not it was the right card for a situation. You'll take cards into your deck that will give you a random other card, and you need to read it, but you don't necessarily want to play it. The defect has a power that will give him a new colorless card at the start of every turn. But you don't know what that card is without reading it. It's hard to see on a phone just at a glance. So it's not like playing on my fucking 27-inch monitor.
Right.
So you got to work out what's on and what it's going to do. And then when you drop it back into your hand, it plays it, and A, you're out of mana, and B, it's done whatever it is it said it was going to do, which might not necessarily be what you wanted to do. And so that can be a problem. It's a bit of a situation. So you got to fucking deal with that shit, which is a little bit annoying. That happens on the phone interface quite a bit. It never happened when I was playing on the touch screen on my Surface, which is how I played a fucking ton of Slay the Spire. Even back, like, when they didn't do a touchscreen pass on that game for maybe like a year. And so it was awkward as shit, but you still never accidentally played cards. You would sometimes accidentally not play a card, but that's fine. You can come back from that pretty easy. Accidentally playing a card, much worse. And yeah, when they fixed the touchscreen on the Surface, it was just perfect. It did exactly what you wanted at all times. Something about the cards is like they're too sticky. They're too like there's clearly there's a section of the screen that is defined as your hand, and there's a section of the screen that is defined as played, and it's too sticky. It almost has like a barrier you have to break through when you want to take it from one to the other.
Right.
And I think it makes sense to have a barrier to take it up, but it should not have a barrier to take it back to your hand. It should almost by default want to go back into your hand. And you should, like I was saying, almost like get mildly miffed when it doesn't play, because that's so much better than being extremely annoyed when it does.
You kind of just want to flick it.
Yeah, that'd be perfect, right? Like, just flick the card out and flick it back in. Not this, like, it is very, like, it's like if there was a membrane between the two and you had to, like, punch through it to get it out and over. The only other problem that I have with it is when you first load it up, it takes quite a long time to sync, which I find is interesting because I don't know what the fuck it's syncing with. And I don't feel like it needs to necessarily sync. Just fucking, it's a card game. Like, what the fuck are you loading? Just let me get in. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's Slay the Spire on the fucking phone. It is exactly like it's. Yeah, I'm spending way too much time playing it. And yeah, just felt really, really dumb when I realized. I even loaded up Slay the Spire on Steam because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm literally, I could literally play it on my fucking.
Need that crossplay, the Dota Underlords system where you can switch between.
It is kind of annoying that it doesn't have that, but
yeah,
whatever.
Valve fucked it for everyone. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Anyway. Cool. Next up, we got Gorilla Tag.
If you like deck builders, it's so worth the money to get it on your phone. It is still, in my opinion, the best deck builder. Monster Train is close, but I still think Slay the Spire did it better. Yeah. Anyway, next up is what? Gorilla Tag.
Gorilla Tag, yeah.
This game's been making a couple of waves lately. Interesting little VR game where you are like this monkey and
a gorilla.
You're a gorilla, I guess an ape. Good qualification. And you sort of make your way around this game level, trying not to get tagged. There's not a lot to it.
Or throw it.
No, so it's not like that. It's sort of behind the character. You're like, so you're able to sort of like bounce yourself up places or grab things without wanting to really throw up. Okay. Like, it's not in third person. It just feels removed. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't feel motion sick, basically. And yeah, you just sort of throw yourself around these environments, and as you play it more, you sort of work out, like, you're using your motion controllers as your hands, the arms of the monkey. ape, and you sort of get a feeling, a grasp on how the game works, and you learn how to like grab, hold onto branches, and pull yourself up places, and you can learn how to climb. Or I was like using a bouncing technique a lot to like wall climb and stuff. And you try not to get tagged, and it's got like microphones on by default, so everyone else who's playing is just sort of yelling like they're being chased by these lava apes. Those are the people who are tagged, and they're being chased, and they're like terrified. And I don't know, there's something quite charming about it, but it didn't really like grab me. It felt a little like you're in this one area, and it's quite interesting. It's well done, in that like clearly they've done a lot of work in making sure you don't feel like you're gonna spew. It's made by one person. They did a great job there, but just didn't feel compelled to continue to play for that much, like all that much. I don't know why. There's something unbelievably nice about like you're in this thing, and I think I was Magenta Monkey, and people are like yelling, "No, Magenta Monkey, run quickly! You gotta go! He's coming for you, Magenta Monkey, run!" I'm like, look at my arm, it's magenta. I'm like, hang on, that's me. Look around, there's a fucking lava monkey coming at me, and I'm like, fuck, run away. They get bored, go for someone else. And I think that's what it is. Maybe the lava monkeys need to be a little bit faster than the other monkeys, or have some sort of ability to like catch up that doesn't rely entirely on like player ability. Because I think there is a tendency, like I was clearly not very good, but I was still able to outrun this one lava monkey, and it seemed like they hadn't caught anyone at all. And so you wind up in a situation where like it just sort of gets a little boring, because the one person who is in charge of creating any tension isn't able to like do anything. And if they had a little bit more power, if they were naturally faster or some shit, I don't know how you'd necessarily do it. Like you can't fling yourself. If you're able to, I don't know, fling yourself 1.5 times as far as the lava monkey or something, maybe that would change the way it plays out. But that ain't it. So it
Cool.
just sort of wound up feeling a bit dull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a free-to-play game on Steam?
On Steam, yeah.
All right. Do you know like what their plans are for the future for this guy? Like what he's doing?
I got no idea. I just figured I'd check it out. It was of the moment. A couple of 100 meg. I had to plug in my VR headset again, which was mildly annoying, but it was fine. Yeah, checked it out. It was interesting and fun. And if you've got a VR headset, it's worth checking out. But I think it needs some kind of some structure to keep me coming back to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Next up, we've got Fights in Tight Spaces. This is a game we talked about last year. I think it was in October. You played a demo on Steam and quite liked it by the sounds of it. So it is a deck building, turn-based tactics game where you're playing this this character who is fighting in sort of like a fist fight, John Wick, action-based card game in these very small levels. They're like an isometric view where you're moving around little squares and attacking people or defending yourself from these other people, and progressing through levels. The actual level systems are very much like I guess similar to like Slay the Spire as well, where you're picking different routes that you can go through as you complete levels. You can find upgrades for your cards. You can go to medics to heal yourself if you get damaged, and then progress through and get more powerful as you're going further and further into the game. I guess it's similar in like Slay the Spire / Monster Train, where you're collecting cards and
A deck
cards do
builder.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, cards do different types of abilities and different types of things. There is like a combo system in the game where you're spending each turn. You kind of given an amount of tokens that you can spend to do either attacks or move around or defend yourself. And every time you attack somebody, you're building up this combo meter, and that allows you to do more damage or even dish out uh, high amounts of damage using special cards that don't actually use any of these like movement tokens or attack tokens, but it'll just allow you to do a ton of damage if you've got the combo meter built up. And so it's very strategic in terms of trying to figure out when you should be attacking, when you should be countering, when you should be moving around, like getting yourself in the correct positions, that sort of stuff. And it's a lot of fun. Like it's just hit early access. This is in no way a review of the game. It's purely a preview. I was given a copy to preview it. So just take that into consideration as well. But the it's got a really lot of cool things going about it. I do like the turn-based deck building combat style. I think the art style and sort of like the way it's the presentation of it is really interesting and neat. It reminds me a lot of what was it called? The John Wick Hex.
Right.
The way that game was sort of presented, I think this is a lot better in terms of the smoothness and that sort of thing. The way it like the animations play out, it looks really well done. And just like the strategy behind it is a lot of fun, like learning the enemies that you come up against, how they behave in the world, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and sort of like how you should be navigating these very small areas that you don't have a lot of room to move in. And there are like 4 or 5 guys sort of heading towards you, trying to attack you with either their fists or guns or like weird weapons that they bring with them. There's cases where like you run into bar fights and ninjas and all sorts of stuff. Like it gets pretty crazy the further you get into the game. But yeah, like it is still pretty early. It's got sounds like it's got some ways to go, but so far like it seems pretty solid. They got some really cool things going on there. I think the biggest criticism that I've got at the moment is that sort of the variety of the cards isn't quite there. Like when you compare it to like a Slay the Spire or even Monster Train, which is a game I still play a lot of, the appeal of those games for me is the different combinations of cards that you can get and the different like Monster Train specifically, these like every deck of cards feels so different to the ones you've used before, and there's a bunch of them in that game. And so every time you kind of want to jump in and play that game, it feels like refreshing. Like the last time you played it was completely different to the time you're playing it now. Whereas in fights and tight spaces, I feel like every time I'm kind of going through and playing this game, the cards that I'm sort of playing are very similar to each other.
Seen them before, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like I'm accumulating anything that's substantially different to what I'm already playing with. If you know what I mean, like it's nothing. I'm not getting cards that feel like overly powerful or anything like that. It's kind of just like
Yeah.
another way to punch someone or kick someone or that type of stuff. So I guess
that
we'll
was
see.
what I was saying back when I played the demo. You know, like I didn't see a lot of variety. That was probably where it was going to fall over, I think.
Yeah.
Or where I thought it was going to fall over.
There's
Yeah.
before you jump into a game, there are different types of styles that you can play. I think there's like a offensive style, there's defensive, there's balanced. So there is some variety there, but like flicking through those cards, it just seems like it's cool that is there, but it doesn't really like it's not overwhelmingly different from each other. Like it just seems pretty similar. So that's the one thing about the game I think that I'd like to see maybe not changed but worked on. Just in terms of replayability factors and that sort of thing, because at this stage, like Monster Train is my, if I've got an hour or so and I've got nothing going on, like I'm either playing Dead by Daylight or I jump in and play some Monster Train and smash out a Covenant in that. So, and like Monster Train's got some DLC coming soon, and so like when you've got these types of games that are sort of competing with each other, it's like you've got to be trying to do stuff that can take people's attention away from those other games. Like the Slay the Spires and the Monster Trains are the big hitters out there at the moment, and I think that Fights in Tight Spaces has some tough competition. Especially with a game like Monster Train where there's multiplayer and they're doing updates quite frequently and that sort of thing. So as much as I like what this game is doing, I think it's probably got some work to go, but it's a really great jumping off point. Like everything about it so far is really interesting, and I just like the concept of it. It's really cool. So hopefully they get there in the end. But if not, then it still seems like a fun game. So I guess I'll keep people updated as they keep on adding new things to it. But I've played about 5 or 6 hours at this stage, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, there's a. It looks like they turned the demo into Fights in Tight Spaces prologue, so you can play that to check it out if you didn't get a chance to check it out earlier. It's probably at this point a much tighter version of the demo that I played. So yeah, give it a squiz.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, what else do we have here? Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online. I played some Hearts of Ambition, which is the new DLC that's coming out 10 days from now.
Yep.
I guess 4 days from now for PC. And yeah, just checking it out. My preview should be up on Survivor by the time you hear this. That does remind me, we will have to delay this for our Patreon subscribers just a little bit. I'm very sorry. But not too much of a delay, really. And yeah. I thought it was pretty good. They did a pretty good job. They've added 2 new dungeons. They've reworked the champion point system. I don't play loads of fucking Elder Scrolls Online. I sort of dip in and dip out. The problem I have is that, like, it's a weird one, right? Because I play Elder Scrolls Online entirely solo, because I think they have a lot of these really interesting storylines, right? So anytime that I wind up getting fucking roped into playing some Elder Scrolls Online again for a preview session, I'm not playing with other people. I don't have a guild or anything like that. I'm just playing on my own. But the amazing thing about Elder Scrolls Online is that you can play it almost entirely alone. The only time you need other people are for the dungeons. And you can, I mean, if I was smart, I would play a tank or a healer, and then I wouldn't have any problem getting into fucking dungeons. But I'm DPS for life. I'm never gonna fucking do it. So yeah, and DPS is a lot easier to do. a survivable DPS is a lot easier to do when you're playing solo than tank or healer. So just like stacks down and you're fine. So anyway, the good thing about this is that, like, what I liked is that they've reintroduced a character who I always thought was like probably one of the the best characters that they've done, which is Everly Sharp Arrow. And she's very popular in the Elder Scrolls Online world because of her Rule 34 ability, I suppose. But she's actually a really good character in general. Like she's nice. Like she's excited to be adventuring. She's got this like spirit about her that is excited about adventuring in the same ways that I think, well, that I'm definitely excited about adventuring. So she feels like a good character who's written like the player might. If you were to insert the player themselves into the game, she feels like that, which I think is very clever. And she returns. She was like in the Orsinium DLC, which is like she was just part of a really good storyline that had like a couple of twists that I thought were really good. I think it was like the second DLC. I obviously wasn't playing TISO from the get-go, so like it doesn't really matter like the order that the DLCs came out. I just basically go hunting when I play it. I just go hunting for the good storylines. Because TISO is set 800 to 1,000 years before the events of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and those other two games that nobody ever played. And like, I just, it's not like I don't care about the world of the Elder Scrolls, but I do find something very satisfying about that, making that mental connection. Like when they talk about in this one, the other dungeon, the one I didn't do because I did the Black Drake Villa. The other one is the Cauldron. The Cauldron, you're fighting a bunch of Mehrunes Dagon cultists, and like I didn't like Oblivion, but I did play it. And as soon as you hear it, as soon as you hear Mehrunes Dagon, you're like, oh my god, that's the bad guy from fucking Oblivion. And then you get the sense as you play through all this stuff, you get this sense that what's happening is basically like, oh yeah, so you're gonna find out what happened before Oblivion happened, type thing, which is cool. Like I don't care about the game worlds, but having played these games, you can't help but care about. It's like reference humor, right? Like, Family Guy does jokes that aren't funny; they're literally just references, right? But because you recognize them, there's something in your brain that like just fucking tweaks, and you're like, "Oh, I recognize that," and yeah, it I don't know, some endorphins or some shit release, and it all feels better. It's doing that, but through DLC storytelling, and I think it's clever. Yeah, so play through with some of the dev team. They walked me through the encounters. I was like, Black Drake Villa seems like a kind of it seems a bit underwhelming. Like, did you guys have were there challenges that were presented to you guys in 2020 that resulted in a dungeon that only has 3 bosses? And they were like, there's secrets in this dungeon. So I had to dig into that, and it's got like fucking 4 secret bosses that we just didn't fucking visit at all. So an interesting way to play that hand, I suppose. I genuinely thought maybe they'd been, like, I think people would accept it, right? Like, I think people would be pretty accepting of especially, the last boss is a 2-phaser. It's like pretty complex. I think it's really well done. All of the elements in that boss fight are really well like telegraphed and stuff. Like, it wasn't criticism saying, did you guys have challenges in 2020 that resulted in fewer bosses than normal? That wasn't a criticism. It was just like an opportunity for them to say, yeah, but we tried to flesh out these bosses a bit more, and we feel like the last one feels like 2 bosses and stuff like that. But no, they had something up their fucking sleeve. So yeah, it wasn't that at all. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Didn't play the Cauldron at all. The champion system rework is so fucking far beyond me because it's not how I fucking play the game, but I did dig deep, and I got a pretty complex explanation from the devs, and I've dug into it on my own to get the details required. So it is all explained in my Survivor preview and interview that you can read by the time this is up, by the time you're listening to this. So yeah, have a look at that if you're interested, obviously. Yeah, like I said, I think the power of if the Elder Scrolls Online wasn't tied to that action bar combat, I think it'd be fucking everyone would play it. It'd be more popular than Destiny. Like, I think literally the only thing holding that game back, because it's got way better storytelling than Destiny. It's got way better fucking like world building, and like all the all the characters are fucking voice acted, like all these different lines. They remember you. Like, if you've played the Orsinium DLC, when you meet Everly in Flames of Ambition, she'll remember you from that, and like remember how you guys interacted back then. So they got all those extra voice lines from that shit. Like, they go all in. It's just tied to the idea of an MMO, and I feel like it's almost trapped in the concept, that MMO concept. Like, people, you press action, press the numbers on the action bar in time with the global cooldown, and that's what you do. 1 2 3 1 3 1 3 4 1 2 3 1 3 1 3 4, and like that's the game. And I don't find that personally compelling, although for whatever reason I find, I don't know, R&B LMB compelling. But yeah, I don't find that personally compelling. If it wasn't tied to it, I think it'd be a fucking world ender. They've put so much fucking effort in that game. And so, yeah, like I said, some of the storylines they do are out of control good. But yeah, the one reason I bleed out on it as soon as I'm not playing it for a preview is because I don't love action bar stuff. And doing preview stuff, I wind up like experiencing those story lines. So it's almost like, well, okay, well, I've done it now. I've experienced the storyline I wanted to, so guess I'm done. Yeah, the problem with that method is that like, I don't get that, I've encountered Everly before, and I don't get to see what she'd say in that situation, because when you're playing the public test server, you're a fresh character who's never met anyone before. You just sort of appeared into the game world with all of the best shit at the maximum level. So you're, a god compared to everyone else. But also you've got no memory of anyone, and nobody knows who you are. So that's the only problem. Anyway, Flames of Ambition. Yeah, Everly Sharp Arrow, great character. Awesome. Read my thing on Survivor.
Yeah, cool. All right, that is the Elder Scrolls Online. Let's move on to the last game we got here, which is Outriders, a demo which was released over the last week. This is a game from the creators of they did like Bulletstorm, right? And so People Can Fly. They also did Painkiller back in the day. They worked on some Gears of War. They're owned by Epic now as well. So,
right.
Outriders is a third-person action gas game, games as a service, which has taken a liking to games like Destiny or The Division, but this is more of a cover-based shooter in the vein of a Gears of War. It's getting quite a lot of mixed reviews. This game is actually due out relatively soon. I think is it next month, April? It's just April 1st, so pretty soon. And this is getting people a taste of what's to come.
Not even nearly enough time
To fix the
to
issues.
fix
Yeah.
what's wrong with it.
I think it's got a lot of problems.
Me too.
Like we're going back to this thing where like games fighting for other people, like the attention of a gamers, like especially a game like this where it's a service-based game. You look at how badly Marvel's Avengers has gone, and like I feel like that game is just on the brink of being pulled entirely by Square Enix, just because they've just bled players so heavily. This seems like another game that could go in that direction, just because of there's just only so many people out there that can play these types of games, and the Division and obviously Destiny is probably the biggest one right now of these types of games, and I don't think it's doing enough or doing enough well to pull away from that piece of the pie.
Like, why would you abandon everything you've done in Destiny, all that you've worked for in Destiny, to go play Outriders? Like, what is it? What do they think? What's that draw? And I guess it's loot, right?
Yeah,
because it does seem to me like Outriders does loot better than Destiny.
I think it does a couple of things better than Destiny.
Yeah.
I don't like the combat. There's aspects of the combat I like the shooting. It's fine. It's okay. Cover based system is a bit janky, but I still think that is interesting. Like the whole getting to cover, moving around, shooting people, using your abilities, like that stuff seems a lot of fun. It's just
No, I don't. Hang on, before we fucking
doesn't
kick on
work
from that
great.
specific point. Yeah, right. Like these, didn't they work on a fucking Gears of War game? Why does the cover shootings feel so fucking shit? Why does it feel like one of the worst? Like it feels like fucking Spec Ops: The Line bad cover shooting. I don't understand. Right, and that was. And back when Spec Ops: The Line came out, I was like, "How is a game? How have we come this far into a generation of fucking cover shooters, and a game is still this bad at fucking cover shooting?" That was back in what 2011 or some shit.
Yeah.
That was a decade ago, and this game might be worse than Spec Ops: The Line in terms of, oh, they have flanked me on this wall, and I can't seem to get away from this fucking. I'm stuck to this fucking wall for some reason.
Yeah, it's very finicky. Even when you're using your abilities and that sort of thing, it's just like I want to be able to stick to this wall, shoot people, use my ability, and then pop back down. But instead, like sometimes I've got to, like it'll pop me out from the wall. I'll use my ability, and my guy's just standing there all of a sudden. And sometimes I'll press spacebar and nothing will happen, which will put me back on the wall. And then sometimes I got to press it twice, and like I think there's just something that's missing there. Like it's just a little bit shy of getting it to like the thing that should be doing well is the cover based shooting, because that is what that game is about, and it's not even doing that properly. I think that's
the shooting's off too. I think I didn't really break it down frame by frame, but I think it's doing that that thing where the bullets come from the crosshair, right? Or so, but the gun, because it's a third person cover based shooter, the gun is off to the side a bit. And so the bullets should move in a different angle to what they do. And it's only really noticeable when you're like, I was playing a class that like jumped up into people's faces and like slash them and then use the shotgun to fucking murder people. But because of the way it was angled, it looked like it should have hit them, but it was missing, and I could see how those pellets would be missing if it was fired from front on, but the gun is held at a fucking angle and shouldn't be. And so I'm treating it like the bullets are coming out of the gun the way they would be coming out of the fucking gun. But they're not. They're absolutely not doing that, and so that's not fucking good either.
Yeah. I didn't have that issue, but I was playing a medium to range class, so I don't know. I thought the shooting was fine.
Right.
Like getting
Yeah,
headshots
I'm
seemed
sure
satisfying and that sort of thing. I
it's
thought the
one of those
weapons were
things you
interesting.
don't notice from like far back.
Yeah.
You wouldn't notice from far back from range, but when your class is literally built around standing in front of enemies, I couldn't help but notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's four classes at the moment. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if they had more. Trickster, Pyromancer, Devastator, and Technomancer. I was playing as Pyromancer. We jumped onto a game, the two of us. You were playing as a Trickster, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I think the classes are pretty cool. The class character, the abilities are pretty cool. I think they did a good job there.
I think that's
My
better
dude,
than the Destiny stuff. Like that is
yeah,
like all of the abilities that I use, I was like, that's fucking awesome. And like stuff that you were doing, I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
yeah. I think I nailed that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's really cool. I like my dude had the ability to like warp behind an enemy. He had the ability to drop this bubble where time slowed and you could dodge all the bullets and stuff. And he had the ability to like he'd send out this slash and everyone who got hit by it would take a lot of damage. And if you got them down, it seemed like if you got them down to within a critical threshold, they just sort of fucking disintegrate.
Yeah.
Which is a very cool effect.
Yeah, because like their skin sort of like melts away, and it's just their bones, but their bones are like floating in like this gravity bubble. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
But then also like I could do my spells and it'd go through and do like weird things. While your like time bubble was also happening, it just like even my spells as a pyromancer, he was able to do this like wall of flames out in front of him and it would just set people on fire. And then I could press this other ability it would throw. He'd like punch the ground or throw out like a ball, a grenade ball, and it attaches to somebody, and then they would start taking burn damage. And if they lost all their health, they would then like levitate and explode, and it'd blow up and set everyone else on fire. Yeah, like it looks cool. All that stuff is awesome. Like I think that they do a better job for abilities than what I've seen in other games. Like it's really interesting.
Yeah. So there's that.
The loot system I don't like. I think it's very janky. Like having to click on each I don't
but the
know,
loot is more
accessory.
interesting.
Sorry?
Like the way it's implemented, I don't think is very good, but the loot itself is interesting.
Oh yeah. I like the loot.
Yeah.
The stuff I got. It's the UI needs work.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The biggest problem I have with it is the fucking storytelling. I flat out do not give a fuck about what is happening in that game. But when I try to give it a chance to be interesting, it is the writing is just it's so generic. They it might have been written by a fucking computer algorithm. I can't tell. Like it's just okay, well this dude is the generic bad guy and he's gonna say bad guy things. I was bored. I was like put offside from the very start because it's got you fucking walking. Like the fucking walk and talk. How the fuck does that still exist? Everyone's on SSDs, for fuck's sake. Holy shit. I gotta fucking walk slowly up a fucking hill while some dickhead spouts exposition at me. I haven't even fired a fucking gun yet. How is the first thing you do in that game not fucking shoot some stuff? It takes forever before you get to shoot some stuff. It is fucking phenomenal how long that takes. And then, it's just the storylines are just, oh my God, who fucking cares? Like, just fucking whatever. Yeah, that annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't run too great either at this stage. At the start of the game, where it's this open area and there's not really a lot going on, run fantastic for me. I was getting like 144 frames. It was beautiful. And then you start getting into the main hub, the Junktown, and like out in the world, and it just like tanks, man. It does not run good at all.
No.
The not to nitpick, but there's some settings in there that are going to be fixed for the actual launch of the game, but just stuff in there like the motion blur, not being able to turn that off. I had to go into the actual config and get all that going. But yeah, it doesn't seem as optimized at this stage. And it seems to be a recurring thing. Like I've looked at a lot of people who've done benchmarks on it, and it's not running too great, which sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like I don't know what else to talk about at this stage. I think that there's some interesting things in there, but there's more less interesting things going on. Like sort of generic stuff. It's just like if this was a game that was coming out in I don't know, 6 months or something, then I'd be a bit more optimistic about it. But the fact that this is launching in 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks, and I felt like it was quite janky, like it seemed like I had a bit of work to go with it. I'm just not optimistic because I really dig the combat, like the abilities. For me, it was the ability. I was like, that's the stuff that's doing the abilities is so cool, I think. And being able to use weapons, and like I had this gun that turned people to ash and it kind of like froze them, and then you can combo that with other abilities, and like you're fucking zipping around doing your time bubble stuff, and like playing with other people and having different characters and how they the things they can do. That's where I think that this game could be really cool. But in its current state, I'm not. I'm kind of worried, pretty worried about it.
Yeah, it's all the same red flags Anthem had to me. Story don't give a fuck about. Weird polish, execution errors. I worry that you're like already doing like you're seeing too much of the content way too quickly, so there won't be enough content to actually
and uninteresting content
afterwards.
That boss fight,
and it's not. Yeah, exactly. It
was terrible.
Yeah, it was awful. And it just went on and on and on.
So long.
Yeah, like just to all these same red flags as Anthem. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, there's only a month to fix it. Anthem didn't even manage to fix it a year after it released, so I don't know.
Yeah.
All
right. Is there much else to talk about at this stage yet?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. All right. That's Outriders. I don't know if we're getting codes for this, so I don't know if we'll be talking about it again. I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still keen to play it, but if it's gonna run like shit, then I can't be bothered. Like it was all over the place when I was playing. It was going from 140 down to like 55, and that is just it's not like I'm okay with it being a steady frame rate if it's something around 60, but the fact that it's going everywhere, it just makes it completely makes you feel sick. So, all right, we'll see what happens. Do we want to take a break or just power through news? What do we want to do?
Just power through. Let's do it.
All right, bunch here. Let's kick off with the PlayStation State of Play, the first one for 2021. I don't know. Some people would say it's disappointing. I guess it only is February, or was February, right, when this stuff came out.
Some people would say it's disappointing. Others didn't watch it, I guess.
You weren't up it, I think, right?
No.
So they went through some announcements and showed off some games that they've already talked about. Kicked off with Crash Bandicoot, It's About Time, talking about the new enhancements for PlayStation 5. We saw some Returnal gameplay. That gameplay does not look anything what I thought the game was going to be. It's reminding me a lot of like Risk of Rain or something like that. Just like the third-person action game.
Risk of Rain 2, you mean?
Yeah, Risk of Rain 2. It's I don't know. I was thinking it was going to be a horror game. but it doesn't look like that's what it is. So
Yeah.
weird.
Like, I guess I could see Risk Grain too. Yeah. I don't know. There's still a little bit
Yeah.
horror in it, you know.
Well, I guess we'll see. It's supposed to be like this roguelike game as well as
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
Next
interested
up
enough.
was Saifu. This looks cool. It's a kung fu game, reminding me a lot of like the Raid or like the scene from Daredevil, where it's this corridor fights and people punching each other and like close combat action sequences. I don't know what the game is, but what they showed looks really interesting. I like the art style and that sort of thing. Any comments on this one?
No, I didn't watch it live and like was skipping through these ones, and this was the like second last one I watched, and
Yep.
I felt like I ended on a pretty good note. Like I was like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yep.
I'll check it out. But yeah, nothing really. I don't know.
Yeah. They showed off a game called was it Dodgeball? Oh, it's a dodgeball game. It's called Knockout City, which is this like cartoony style dodgeball game. I don't know, like the aesthetic looks kind of cool. The thing I'm cautious about is it seemed like there was like an auto aim thing happening in that game, so I think it might be a bit more casual for my liking. But I guess we'll see when we get some hands-on time with it.
Like, is it like it's Fortnite, right? Fortnite dodgeball or some shit, right?
Is it? I thought it was just like a
No, it's not an
TDM
actual Fortnite game. I just mean it's
Oh
like
yeah,
that
it's
that
that
style,
audience. Yeah.
and I just don't like get the I don't know the reason for going in that direction necessarily.
I mean, we've seen a lot of games. Look at Rocket Arena, right? Those types of games that are going for that audience, and this feels like another one of those to me.
I guess, yeah. They, it is the zeitgeist.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm
Next,
not excited for it. Basically.
yeah, I have to wait and see. Next up, we got Five Nights at Freddy's. Security Breach, the first gameplay reveal for that. I don't know. I've not played any of these games, so it doesn't really appeal to me. Did
Have you
see
watched
anything?
Willy's Wonderland?
Okay, yeah, that's on my list.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm very keen to check it out. Yeah, I remember. I don't know, just not generally liking the concept, like just how quickly they churn these games out. I feel like they churn out too many of them.
Yeah.
But I do have Five Nights at Freddy's VR that I haven't played yet.
Okay, yeah.
Should be interesting.
And we saw some Oddworld Soulstorm, which have a date for that, April 6th. Looks like Oddworld to me. I don't know. Any thoughts?
No. It's going to be.
Do you feel like we're seeing too much of it at this stage?
Yeah. I definitely feel like they may be oversaturating. Is it going to be on PlayStation Plus? Is that what that was at the end of that one?
Let me just bring it up here. It says PlayStation Plus in April.
Yeah, so I mean, at least I'm definitely going to play it then because it's on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Good stuff.
Yep.
PlayStation. We got to see some Deja Vu trailer for Deathloop. That game looks good. To me, I don't know. This feels like, again, we're probably seeing too much of that game. Like,
yeah,
I'm kind of, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of done with seeing it all the time. I don't really know what that game is, but like, I don't need to see anymore. Like, I know who makes it. I know the caliber of games. Just stop showing it to me and it's not like they're showing like 30-second trailers. Like they're going every time they show this game. It's like, here's fucking 4 minutes, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, we get it. But at the same time, like, yeah, I feel like Arcane's got this track record of making awesome games and nobody fucking plays them.
Yeah.
And this feels exactly like one of those games. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what Arcane does. They have such good ideas and execute games so well, and they just don't sell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just hope that one day they, or at least like maybe that's fine. Maybe that's okay. I'm just worried that they're gonna get fucking shafted somehow because they got a lot of good talent over there.
Yeah.
We saw some gameplay about I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Kina? Bridge of
Kino,
Spirits?
yeah. Yeah.
This looks awesome. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It looks rad though.
No, this was the highlight.
It looks like a
I watched
fucking
this one last.
Disney game. Or like a Pixar
Yeah.
or like a DreamWorks video game. It looks nuts. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of action adventure game, but I'm into it. You're playing as this I don't know, young girl, teenager, who has staffs and abilities and magic, and yeah, it looks rad.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna play Kino.
Yeah.
Bridge of Spirits or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, Bridge of Spirits. Yeah, there's these little like
that's awesome.
Anyway, next up, and the last was it the last thing they showed off? I can't even remember. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is a PlayStation 5 upgrade version for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's coming in June, and they also announced a new chapter or episode where you can play as a new character called Yuffie. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure you do, and you love her because everyone else loves all these characters.
No. She was shit. I hated
she was shit. Okay.
Yeah. I called her Yuffie as well.
Is it Yuffie? No, Yuffie.
I don't know.
I think it's Yuffie.
Well, I only ever read it. There wasn't
that's
voice
fair
actor when I played it.
No, it's original. It's a different game though, this one.
It is a different, shittier game. I wonder if, like, being on the PlayStation 5, it's going to be like when you have to crawl through those fucking tunnels to go to see those fucking kids. You do that like 18 billion times. Whether or not it's actually going to, like, are they going to shorten the tunnel? Or is it still going to take fucking 18 hours to fucking wedge your way through to talk to some fucking kids about some dumb fucking side quest over and over and over again?
Maybe if you finish the quest quickly, you wouldn't have to go back every time. I don't know.
The game is built around making you go back over and over again. It's built that way. It's trash. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that was it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it was fine. It was okay. Nothing big. We haven't heard of anything being pushed back. I guess you and I were sort of speculating about the next God of War or
God of War,
Horizon.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to wait till like June for that, at least.
Suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, one game we didn't see was From Software's next game,
Elden Ring.
But hey, we've got to look at it anyway. A lot of leaks over the week for some old / internal trailers that were going around.
Yep.
I don't know. I wouldn't recommend people watching it. It looks
if
like
you
it was filmed
watch,
on a Nokia. Like
it does. It really does. Yeah. But yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, all right. We'll see what happens next state of play. But it was fine. It was okay. Some cool stuff in there. Mostly cool stuff that I thought was interesting. We'll move on to the next story we got here. Is the next Need for Speed game has been delayed as Criterion has moved off of it to help with the next Battlefield game, which is due this year. This is I don't know how you feel about this, but this is sort of, maybe I'm a bit worried because we saw some comments like a couple of weeks back saying that Battlefield is in a good spot and it's on track for this year. And now that we've heard that they've pulled an entire team off of a Need for Speed game to help with Battlefield, does that worry you at all?
Nah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Sounds like they got it in a good place, and now they need as many people as possible to come out with the most like polished version of the game that they can.
Right.
And yeah,
Criterion has experience working on Battlefield. Obviously, they helped
Yep.
make the Firestorm / Battle Royale game, which was delivered with Battlefield. What was that one that just came out? I can't remember anymore.
5.
5? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was excellent. And for whatever reason, they fucked up the support for that game. So it ended up
Yep.
dying.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just excited for Battlefield 6. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm hoping against hope that it's modern warfare.
It has to be modern, right? They can't go back again.
No, it can't be back in time. Maybe Vietnam, but probably not. But it could be future. It could easily be future.
Mm.
All
right.
I prefer modern, but yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like we probably hear about that maybe soon.
Yep.
Next up, Epic Games has bought Tonic Games Group, which includes Mediatonic and Fall Guys. So Mediatonic is the developers behind Fall Guys. Yep. And yeah, I guess this is a big pickup for them. It seems to me, because we've talked about Fall Guys a lot and how it sort of it's fallen off. Fall Guys has fallen off on PC, but it seems like that game is doing pretty well on consoles, at least. Like I'm just looking now, Fall Guys dropped out of the top 100 on Steam charts at the moment. It's down to an average player base of 8,000 players, which 6 months ago it was 124,000. So pretty big drop off compared to when it first launched, but it seems like it's doing pretty well on consoles. And obviously Epic has some plans for those guys. So all right, I guess we wait and see what they want to do with that. Picking up some some talents.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's probably a good acquisition. Hopefully they, hopefully it goes both ways. They instill some of the Fortnite sensibility. Fortnite's got a really good schedule of release concepts at its core that I think Mediatonic could really benefit from. And obviously there are some really creative people at Mediatonic that could probably create something really good with Epic's mammoth budget. So yeah, keen to see it, how it goes.
Yeah, let's skip that one. Let's leave that one to last. Next up, we got Aliens Fireteams has been announced. This is being created by Cold Iron Studios. It is a team-based third-person action game, a horde game, in similar to like a Left 4 Dead, I guess. A game people will be most familiar with.
Yeah. It's a 3-player version though, so a little bit different. I don't know. I'm keen. I'm excited. Can't wait to see it. I know you're skeptical.
I'm pretty skeptical about this one.
But I have extremely fond memories of playing 3-player Aliens Colonial Marines, rather. And that game was trash. So I think, in my opinion, we don't need an Aliens game to be good for us to have fun with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Position. I definitely play it. I'm just I don't know. I feel like I don't want. I want something to be good as well.
Sure. I'd like it to be good.
So the things that I'm kind of skeptical about is that the way they announce this, it's coming out this year. Later on in the year, it's only just been announced, and they did a bunch of previews for it. And I read a couple of them. They were online presentations, hands-off previews. It seems like they got a bunch of movie sites to preview it, which that's kind of hard to gauge. Like you don't really get a lot. I'm not saying that their opinions are wrong, but when you when you don't have games critics or games media trying to talk about some of the features or things it's got, it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
determine like what the game actually is. I found a couple of game sites that did it, like, but even then it was really hard to figure out like what this game is. Like Kotaku had a preview go up and it was literally 3 paragraphs.
Right.
And I was
Jesus.
like, it told me nothing about the game.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of got me worried. Like, why did they do such a soft, weird preview session for this? Like, just not getting any information out there. From what I can gather, it's gonna have like modifiers in the game. This is something we talked about when we were playing recently. While I looked through my list, Back for Blood, where it's got different modifiers that you can chuck on. So every time you go in there, the game will play a little bit differently.
Cool.
Which is cool. That's a really cool system that I liked. That took me like 4 previews to get through before I even found that information. So yeah, it's just like everything that I read about it just seemed kind of generic. Like it's just like, yeah, it's a shooter, and that's probably about it. Like they didn't talk about objectives or anything like that. The main thing that I read up about was it seemed like a lot of the previews touched on, like there's different types of AI, there's different characters, and they'll behave differently, and that sort of stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I'm just kind of cautious about it, just because of the lack of information that was put out there and the way that was sort of distributed. It's not like we saw videos of people playing it, or didn't really see any gameplay. It was kind of a cinematic trailer that showed off some action, and it's just not gonna do much for me. So I'm just being cautious about it. Like I'm being burnt by too many fucking Alien games in the past, or Predator games. So yeah, we'll see how that one turns out. Next up, we've got let's go through this sinking city drama between Frogwares and their publisher. Is it Narcon? Is that how you pronounce it?
Narcon? I don't know. Narcon, isn't Narcon that? Narcon's that drug they use when you overdose on heroin.
Yeah.
So probably not that.
So this is in relation to Frogware's game, The Sinking City, which was released last year. So this dispute first started last year anyway. It's a 2019 game. It started last year when there was a dispute between Frogwares and the publisher, which ended up basically the game being removed from Steam. And then this was taken to court, basically, between the two, developer and the publisher. The developer lost. They favored in ruling of the publisher. The game was put back on Steam, but then it was removed shortly afterwards. And then, so this kind of, there's obviously some sort of bad blood going on between the publisher and the developer here. And so last week, a game or a version of this game ended up on Steam, and the developers come out and said that they don't have anything to do with this coming up on Steam. It's something the publisher has done. Not only that, but it's an illegal version of it. It was a cracked and pirated version, which has been hacked to remove a bunch of items that are in the game, things like that, like menu items, and for them to get it up there. And so this whole dispute has come out. Like the developer is saying one thing, the publisher is coming out and saying, and so they've basically said that like the publisher is saying like we've taken this to court. It's been ruled in our favor that multiple times that they are in the wrong. We have been trying to get the developer to get this game up on Steam. They refused to, so we had to go to an external party to try and get it up there. And they've managed to do that, and so there's this whole back and forth going on now, where these two companies are now fighting with each other, which has now it's now led to the game being removed from Steam again after the developer has issued a DMCA notice, and Valve has responded to that and taken down the game. There's a lot going on here to unpack. Like it's messy.
This is a proper clusterfuck,
and it's hard to know who is right. Like who is. like when I first heard this story, I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? This publisher is fucking people around. But then you start hearing about like no, this has been taken to court. Like they've lost a bunch. and they're refusing to, like, we published this game, we financed it, and now the developer is refusing to do any of the work. And it's like, well, where do you draw the line? Like, there's clearly something going on here, and who is in the wrong? It's hard. Like, I've not spent a lot of time reading on it, but the stuff I have read, obviously a lot of people online on the circles that I follow are a lot more in line with the developer. But I think there's two sides of the story going on, clearly.
Like, there's clearly some stuff going on. I think, like, yeah, I don't think anyone comes off looking especially good here. But yeah, basically, you know, Frogwares alleged that they hadn't been paid, and there was a contract violation over like the IP rights and the lack of payment, and so they took the game down from every store, every single store. They just fucking did it. And
whereas the publisher's saying they've been paid, and also
published saying that they did pay, and then they took it to court
and won.
And so I think the situation as it currently stands is that the court in France said that the game should go back up for sale, and whoever won the court case would receive the money for it. And obviously, Frogwares is disputing this concept, and so they haven't put it back up on any storefronts. And so I feel like in this particular scenario, Frogwares is in the wrong, but like the rest of it, it feels like they're making, they're doing whatever they can. They need to, they're trying to get the attention of the publisher, and they took it down to get the attention of the publisher and to get the court proceeding happening. But it feels like they should have put it back up if that's what the court said they should have done. But it's really hard to tell.
It also sounds like that the version that was put back up on Steam was the wrong version that should have went up. It had DLC attached to it, which the publisher didn't have the rights to publish. And so that's where, like, I think they're sort of on the right there, like in terms of their DMCA request. So it's just messy. Like, I don't think like you said, anyone really looks good at this stage. As much as at the start of this, I was kind of on Frogwares' side, but as more and more information starts coming out, and it's just like, and
I'm still tending towards Frogwares' position. I think I'm just biased towards developers by default.
Sure.
But yeah, it's really hard to tell how this one's going down. It is a clusterfuck. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out in the end. We might keep track of how it's playing.
Yeah, but like, we don't know what the contracts look like.
No,
anything like that. But
yeah,
at this stage, what we're seeing is fucking we said, they said type stuff on the internet, and that can end up weird. All right, and the last piece of news that I put up here, because it's been a while. PUBG Mobile 2 rumors, which have been floating around for a little while now. I saw this going around last week. I didn't put it in the news because I didn't think it was going to be anything interesting. Turned out to be true. PUBG New State is launching soon on iOS and Android, which is being developed by the PUBG studio, the creators of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And this is basically set in the future. It's a 2050 or something like that, like 50 years in the future, like laser weapons, drones, future cars, that sort of stuff. It's not called PUBG 2, but it's basically, from what we can gather, it is a new version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on mobile. From what the reports are saying, this is not coming to PC or consoles. It's going to be a standalone version on mobile, purely for that platform. But the PUBG 2, which is in development somewhere in one of those studios, is still on track for next year. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with PUBG 2. What do you? Is this like we didn't get the memo about what fucking Blizzard did a couple of years back with Diablo? Like, how does this sort of play out for you?
Nah, PUBG Mobile is apparently fucking massive, like
Yeah.
massive. So I think they've already got an established user base that will be extremely excited to check this new one out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll check it out. I'll get a fucking run. I'm getting more into mobile games. I'm intrigued about where that space is going to go.
So apparently this gets them back into India as well. So the game was removed from India due to some content in the game, and this will get them back in there. So, it's like at the time of removal, PUBG Mobile was the biggest game back then. So this is probably a big step in that direction of getting them on top. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll probably check it out. But at the same time, it's like, I guess the thing that comes out of it is that the next PUBG game is still being made somewhere.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like to me the mistake that we saw between the Diablo stuff was, hey, don't you guys have phones? But the fact that they never confirmed that there was a new thing coming for those people. And I think this is sort of similar, but at the same time, they don't want to, like, they're selling cosmetic items and all sorts of shit in PUBG now, so they don't want people to not do that anymore. Especially if this game is still like another year or so off, by the sounds of it. So it puts them in a hard spot. But anyway, I guess we'll have to wait and see what that is. But I mean, would a PUBG 2 future game, if it was on the PC, is that more appealing to you, or would you like to see them do like what they're doing now, but like make it I don't know, like make it be like a better running game, have the infrastructure be better, like that sort of stuff?
Shit, man, that's a good question.
Like, take the stuff they've learned from making PUBG, have it,
hilarious,
get all the jankiness out of it, that sort of stuff.
Sure. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I would prefer it remain in this time frame as opposed to going to the future. But I don't know. I could see myself trying out a future PUBG, a PUBG 2 that was set in the future, as long as it's not too far in the future. Like, Arma 3 is technically set in the future, and all it really results in is a little, some futuristic graphic type shit and some weird looking cars. I could handle that, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that might allow them to go a bit more wacky with it as well. Back in the day, talking to Brendan Green, saying that, like, we're never going to have weird cosmetics and, like, it'll play to the aesthetic of the game. And, like, you look at PUBG now and it's just like, that's not what that game is like anymore. Like, it's pretty crazy. But allowing them to go more futuristic, I guess, away from that like military hardcore shooter, allows them to play around with the stuff they're doing, like that you see in Apex Legends or Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone, and have it be a bit more goofy. It's just whether or not that audience will come across with it. And I think that they don't need that audience. Like, look how big Call of Duty is. Look how big Apex is with their battle royales right now. I think people are okay with that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I guess we'll see, right? See what happens. All right, there you go. That was news. Anything else to talk about? Anything else you want to mention?
No, not in the news. We do have questions.
We got questions. What do we got? What's happening over there?
Let's do the questions. Questions time. How can people ask us questions, Luke?
They can go to thegapodcast.com/Discord, jump into our Discord channel, go to questions tab in there, and you can ask Joab questions. He'll answer them for you. Any time of day. He's on there waiting.
No. I only answer them during the podcast. And they must,
okay.
and I don't even read them until the podcast comes up.
Okay.
So don't ask me questions that need fucking a lead in. Anyway,
Okay.
Johnny Park writes, gentlemen, I had a couple of questions pop into my head the other night while some dickhead was spamming "what a save" in Rocket League while contributing nothing to the match itself. Firstly, what would you both say is the most toxic in-game community that you have experience of playing in? Luke,
Most toxic.
Let's answer it first.
That I mean, the first one that comes to my head is Dota.
Yep.
Well, Dota 2 specifically.
I figured. Yep.
I'm sure there's more. But that's
mine would be Counter-Strike. I had multiple people.
Yeah.
Like twice someone actively tried to have a fist fight with me while playing Counter-Strike. So never had that in any other game. So that's got to be probably the most toxic thing.
Right.
Yeah. I'd say that, but Overwatch probably close. Overwatch is probably close. Overwatch, I feel like all the toxic fuckheads of Counter-Strike and all the toxic fuckheads of every MOBA ever all collided to like create this like the peanut butter and chocolate of toxicity of being toxic dickheads. And so you've got people like spamming like unthinkable words in the chat, and then you've also got people like just straight up tanking your team's ability to do anything.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Like it's not just one, but they've learned. It's like they've learned how to be fuckheads in other games, and they've brought it in to this one game. And that's Overwatch. But I would still say Counter-Strike at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, just because I've played 3,000 hours of Dota, like that's the one game for me that really opened my eyes to team-based toxicity. Like in that game, if you've got a team that's just being toxic, it just throws the entire game off because all of a sudden now there's fucking 5 players that are just tilting. And just the things you can do in that game by throwing it and feeding it, and like you being playing for 50 minutes and it just completely comes apart at the end. Whereas if I'm playing Dead by Daylight, because that's a game I play a lot of now, like having a survivor sit at the exit gate teabagging, I don't care. Like that's you should have just fucking left at the end. Like stop being a dickhead. But I don't think that's toxic. Like I don't get people calling me names in the fucking the lobby or anything for the most part. Like I'd say 90%, 95% of the time, like everybody's saying GG.
How good is it when they teabagging at the exit gate and you're pyramid head and you send it out and catch them and then fucking drag them and you fucking, oh my God, that shit is the best. Because like generally, even if they're not the last, like even if their teammates haven't actually run through the gate yet, they were just sitting behind watching. Doesn't matter. Just face camp. It's hilarious. Yeah. They earned it. They know they've earned it. The one time I did that, at the end, the dude was like, "Yep, fair enough." Like he knew he'd fucked up. Like, what are you doing, mate? The only person worse to do it against is what is his name? Deathbringer, the fucking dude with the Deathslinger, dude with the hook gun.
Yeah,
that's the only way that could go worse.
Yeah. I've seen there's a dude on YouTube, I don't remember who it was, who's got a series of videos of him just basically running Deathslinger with Freddy Krueger's what's it called? I think is it Death Warden? Something like that. It basically blocks the exit gates if you hook somebody. And so you've got guys like sitting there teabagging. And he does that and just like destroys everybody. There's some good videos, but yeah,
God.
I don't know, man. Like for me, I think it's the team based MOBAs just because of how
Makes sense.
I've not. It could be different. I've not played a lot of Dota recently. Maybe it's changed. We're seeing a lot of developers jump in and add new sort of quality of life features in there to sort of deter people from doing that. Overwatch is probably one of the big ones, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it. Yeah,
Doubt it.
fucking. I hate seeing that stuff in games. I just don't know why they just don't ban them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
I got called a
times where you
virgin
can
the
be.
other day when I was playing Warzone. Got called a virgin. The dude was like, because the few seconds after you've killed them and they can talk, they're like, "You're such a fucking virgin."
Yeah, like that's fine.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
For me, it's the like
and
you
the
could
dude
be,
who said, "You're such a fucking bot." After
Yeah.
I'd killed him in a 1-on-1, I'm never going to get over that one. It's too funny. It's too funny. Mate, you lost in a clear 1-on-1, and how are you going to call me a bad character player? That just means you're a bad player. This is like, it's suicide by words type shit. Focus up, mate. Anyway, hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It's the people that like negative slurs and things like that, where I'm like, they should just fucking get rid of them. Like, just fire them in the sun. Just ban them.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, cool. Good question.
Secondly, what community, this is still Johnny Park. Secondly, what community would you say has the biggest difference between their in-game and their online communities, i.e. massive tools in-game, but eager to help, share tips on forums or Reddits? I'm going to go with Rainbow Six. Well, yeah. Dota is probably a good one. Rainbow Six, people in that game, well, I mean, I mute them all now, but it used to be just an absolute clusterfuck. Like, you would be the last one alive. It'd be like a 1v5, and they would be screaming clutch or kick. Like, not typing it, screaming it, so you can't hear anything. And you're just like, just fucking kick me. I don't even want to be on this fucking team anymore. I clutched once. I actually did clutch once, and then I told them to fucking kick me.
Yeah.
But that wasn't 1v5. That was like 1v3, but I was still going on about it. I'm like, fuck, kick me, you cunts. I've had enough of it. And they did. They kicked me. Well, thank you. But now I just mute everyone. On the forums, everyone's really helpful. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, I just think it's, in general, people are different. Like, we're all the dickheads when you go to PAX. I don't know. Some of them are still there, but most part,
that's true.
Pretty nice.
Very true.
All right, cool.
Good question, Johnny Park. Heathy writes, air fryer for people who can't cook or for those who can but don't need to prove it. Holy shit, I've got an air fryer story. I sous vide some really nice thick cut sirloin steaks yesterday. Really good steaks. And I was going to blowtorch them to finish them off, because when you sous vide, it sort of comes out this like grey mass because of the oxidization. There's like always a little bit of air left, and the heat reacts, and so it turns into this grey blob of meat, which isn't very appealing. And also a lot of the flavor of steak comes from the Maillard reaction in the caramelization, which is what you get when you like cook it on the grill or whatever. And so to cheat, you cook it to the perfect temperature in sous vide, which in my opinion is 56 degrees Celsius. And then you crack out a blowtorch and you blowtorch the steak to create the Maillard reaction. Give it a little bit of char somewhere, some places. Delicious. Anyway, yesterday I chucked it on the air fryer and pretty close. I think if you went for like proper rare, because I cooked 56 is about medium rare. I reckon if you went for 54 or 53 and then chucked it under the air fryer, you'd be fucking gangster. Not easier, because blowtorching shit isn't hard, but less effort than blowtorching because you just preheat the air fryer to 200 and then whack it in. I did about 3 minutes each side, and it was fucking spectacular. So hard recommend the air fryer steak after you sous vide it. Although in terms of having like kitchen gadgets that you need to have on hand, it is getting up there. It's getting a bit out of hand. Anyway.
Need a second kitchen.
Yeah, basically. Need to not live in Sydney. Yeah. What do you think? Luke, you got an air fryer?
No.
No, not about it?
No, I have a slow cooker. That's probably about it.
Right here.
I don't have the room.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
He's also attached one of his classic text files. So I've opened it. Hi, The Gap. I can already see. I've seen the word Bathurst in a quick skim, and I know this is going to be a Heath story. I competed in a virtual Bathurst 12-hour last Saturday. Hoo boy, that was rough. I qualified for my team on the Friday night, and I only managed to qualify 34th out of 43 teams. Yikes. After that session, I made a small change to my field of view settings and instantly found an extra half second on the time I set in qualifying, which would have had a start in the low 20s. I'll come back to that later. Anyway, I started the race on Saturday and we got hit up the arse when braking for turn 1 on lap 1, causing 5 seconds worth of repairs at our first pit stop. Holy shit. A pit stop being a minimum of 30 seconds when you want to change drivers. Over the course of the next 70 minutes, I was run into another 3 times. What is this? Some fucking destruction derby. You playing in Wreckfest or some shit. Another 3 times, and also gently clipped the walls a couple more times. I'd made it up to the 15th by the next time I pit for a driver change, but there were an extra 39 seconds worth of repairs on top of the 30 seconds for a regular pit stop. A bunch of those positions were made by passing people who pulled into the pit lane earlier than us, but my teammate Neil exited the pits in 39th. It would have been 24th without the extra time needed for repairs. I can't recall much of the next 11 hours. I know my other 2 teammates got crashed into a bunch. Paul even made an unforced error which caused a lot of damage. Nearly every driver change pit stop over the rest of the race required extra time for repairs. The silver lining was that I was going to be the one to finish the race, which meant I would do a 70-minute stint, then pit for a small fuel top-up, and then drive the final 20 minutes. With this extra time in the pits and 1 or 2 unscheduled stops, we worked out that I shouldn't have to stop in my final stint until I did. With 4 minutes to go in the race. If my previous contacts with the walls had been light kisses, this time I made out with it. It didn't seem to be too hard a hit. Fucking hell, Heath. Can you not let autocorrect do most of the work for you? But my AI engineer guy reported severe damage to the rear, and my steering wheel was at a 45-degree angle when trying to keep the car straight. I asked my team how far back the next position was, and they reported it was nearly a whole lap behind. At 35 seconds for repairs, it was worth pitting. It's just over a 2-minute lap at Mount Panorama for people in around our current position. I didn't feel confident in getting the car safely around the track at least twice more before the race ended. So I pulled into pit lane, disabled any changes to fuel and tire, and got back out on track for the final 2 laps. Upon finishing the race, we noticed that the car ahead of us had received a drive-through penalty that had been converted to a 30-second time penalty. They still finished ahead of us, I think. And I think if I had not have had to pit, they would have... Too many fucking H words in that one. They would have been ahead of us still, but it would have been a mighty close gap. My question is, can you think of a time in particular where you've changed something about a game that significantly improved your competitiveness or made it easier to play? For example, an unnamed player using their mouse against a book as the swing control in PGA 2K21. That's you. He's talking about you, Luke. And for the record, we finished in 33rd place, 12 hours of which I drove 40% of, and we gained 1 position. Good times. Hakuna Matata, Heath. Can you think of a time when you made a small change that's resulted in significant gains in a game?
The funny one that I can think of, I think I've talked about on here, is Alien versus Predator. When you turn on the sniper cheat or mod for the alien, and then you put some blue tack on the screen where the crosshair should be, and you just snipe fucking everybody from ages away, just headshot. It's great.
That is disgusting. That sounds like mad cheats. My monitor, you can actually just like have an overlay of a crosshair.
Yeah, mine too.
Pretty slick. I don't use it though because it would be annoying as shit.
I wonder if I can use that in Dead by Daylight. That'd be cheating.
That'd be well gross.
Would be cheating.
That'd be well gross. That'd be 100% cheating.
For the people that have like shoot or throw hatchets or gunslinger. Yeah, that'd be fucked.
Yeah. I think the biggest change that I do whenever I start a new game or switch to a new game, or I encountered this when I was playing Counter-Strike for a video I made earlier this week, is just the change of control as crouch. Changing that to shift is always a massive one for me because it's just you can shift jump or you can crouch jump a lot easier with it on shift, which makes it just significantly better. That's all. And ever since I realized that back in the Half-Life Deathmatch days, and it has been literally with me ever since. I never used crouch in Quake, so it was never really a big deal. But Half-Life Deathmatch, crouch jumping was a fucking big thing. Counter-Strike the same. And so changing crouch to something that I could very easily get to, wildly changed how I played the game. Like significantly changed how I played it. That or view distance in DayZ. Holy fuck! When you could rank that up to fucking max, that was full hacks. That was playing on hacks. People were dying and they couldn't even fucking see you. Yeah. The problem with that game was like also at max view distance, you were seeing players, but you weren't. But like other textures weren't rendering in, and so you would like see someone like 1,800 meters away, and they'd just be plonking their way along this like blank field of nothing because none of the grass or the trees or anything had rendered in yet, because they don't render in past I think like 1,200 meters. And so, you could easily see them, which was a very big deal. Yeah. Good questions,
cool.
Heath.
Cool.
Good stuff. Good story, too. Can't believe you managed to game one. Like, what was going on there? Just fucking bumper cars type shit. A lot of shenanigans in the line out, as they say.
Check him out.
Morko writes, I feel personally attacked. And there's a question mark emoji. Krusty Raven coming in with the save. But it's not a question mark, so unbelievable. That would be it. That's us.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
What happened with DayZ? Did you guys jump in at all?
No, I jumped in, tried to play a couple of games, and I couldn't find any servers that would allow me in. But I saw, I think, Dr. E3 Money and Heath talking about having to buy the Livonia pack. So maybe I have to buy a fucking expansion for this game to play it. I'm not thrilled about the idea. Not thrilled.
Yeah, right.
I tell you. But I will have a squiz.
Yeah.
I'm still keen. It's not that I actually have enough Steam credit to cover it. So maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet.
Yeah.
All right. Done.
All right.
But I don't want to play Livonia. I want to play.
Is that the one with I saw someone post something had like a bear in it?
I already own it.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, it does have bears in it.
Well, then you can buy it for me. Done.
This guy. Yeah, anyway. Okay,
cool.
That's a podcast.
That is a podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all the places you get podcasts from under the Gap or the GA podcast. If you do have a moment, please rate and review the show. Helps other people find us. You can, if you want to, email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com, but preferably go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can leave us questions on there, jump in and play games, all sorts of things going on. I saw some, was there like movie chat going on the other day, or was that something else? Cyberpunk? Can't remember.
Cyberpunk chat.
A lot of Cyberpunk chat.
We have a new channel for Geoguessr, so we don't spam up the general channel if you're not interested in Geoguessr. And then all you have to do is right click on it and mute channel until I turn it back on, and then turn off. And we won't do any fucking at everyone or at here bullshit. So you'll never get fucking notifications out of that. So
yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/GA Podcast, twitter.com/GA Podcast. You can go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube, watch the podcast in video format. You can also go to our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all of those things we just talked about. If you can't remember them, go there, click the button, easy, done. Or just go read random things. I think, did you post something this week on there? You did.
Yeah, like it's basically I don't know, the problem with gun game, right? Like, yeah, I've got another one coming next week. I think I might do these, semi regularly. I don't know, like I just want to. I love writing about games, and there aren't many outlets for it anymore. So, yeah, I'll do this. If I can't sell it, I'll just chuck it up for people to have a squiz. It's just a breakdown of some, like a quick opinion piece. But yeah, the problem with gun game and Call of Duty, I have summed it up quite well. If you like it, share it to everybody, because that's the only way we'll ever get fucking Call of Duty to fucking do anything about it. Share it on Twitter and Reddit and whatever. Do it.
Yeah.
Or don't do it. I don't care. You know.
So that's thegapodcast.com. You can go there, check that out. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members who help keep the podcast and website running. You go to patreon.com/thegapodcast and become a recurring member. Get the podcast early when Joab doesn't have embargoes to adhere to. So this week it'll go up a little bit later. But generally it's like a week, about a day early, usually.
Yeah.
Because we record this Thursday sometime Thursday morning. It's up Thursday night, Thursday afternoon.
Yep.
All right. That is the show. Anything else?
And we love you. Out? We love our patrons. We love everyone who listens. We love our patrons.
Cool. Anything else you want to pimp out before you go?
No, head to Survivor and check out those Elder Scrolls previews. Head to my YouTube, youtube.com/JobyJojo. Check out my gun game opinion piece video. Fucking, did you watch it, Lee? Did you watch that video?
I did. Yeah.
Did you see the bit with the sniping? Fucking, what a travesty that was. The bit where I'm like, oh, some people can't snipe, and I'm just like fucking whiffing over and over again. And then I clapped that dude. I turned around and fucking snapshot that motherfucker. And somehow he let me like duck behind a fucking thing to bolt up and get him with the next one. That was fucking hilarious. Anyway, watch my gun game video. Oh, actually, while we're speaking of DayZ, and we weren't, but I worked it out, and I'm 29,000 views away from getting 1 million views on the Gentleman Bandit. 29,000. So if everyone who listens to this could listen to it about 1,000 times, we can knock that out.
You know what you need to do? Go chuck it back on Twitter again and be like, it's the anniversary or something.
Smart. That is smart. When is the anniversary of it?
I don't know. Or just say that we're nearly 1 million views away from it.
Oh, yeah.
Just post it there.
Also
see if it gets some retweets. Get people to click on it.
7 years ago. 7 years. You're joking. That is amazing.
Yeah.
The 2nd of January. God damn it, Joab. You missed your opportunity.
Just go edit the date. I don't know. Change the code.
Very smart.
Yeah. All right. That is it. We'll be back next week. We've got a few things to talk about. Loop Hero. We'll be able to talk about our review, I guess, of Loop Hero. which is out the end of this week. People are going to check that out.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's a few other things we'll be able to jump in and talk about. It's a bit slow, but hey, we've still got games coming through. That's what we do here. So we'll see you all there.